Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a reading vlog. I haven't done a reading vlog in a while because I feel like my reading vlogs are boring since they tend to just be in this room. But let's hope I venture out. But this reading vlog is a vlog where I just want to read some D&D romances. Oh my god, can we focus on me? But in this vlog, I want to read some D&D romances because I have read a couple of D&D romances and I've loved them. So I just gonna kind of read some more. So obviously the first one I ever read was this one, and it was 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. But I also love the other book that's in this series. And the third one comes out soon. It's in a couple weeks. So I thought leading up to me reading that book, which I will be reading in this video, in the lead up to that book, I want to read some more D&D romances, but I also read a couple other D&Ds that I feel like I need to shout out. Like this one I absolutely loved. This one is more of like the character, like it just gave me D&D vibes. Not that like people are playing D&D, but it's characters that I feel like would be in a D&D world. And again, focus. It's annoying, but I loved this one. And also this little like middle grade graphic novel series was also really cute and sweet, and the romance was very like middle school, like first crush kind of romance, which was cute. So I would recommend those. Those are pretty much, honestly, I think all of the D&D romance books that I've read, and I've loved them. So I want to read some more. Hold on, you are sitting on top of the books I'm reading. Okay. Oh, and that's way better lighting too. What was I thinking? So these are the other books I'm hoping to read, including the new book, Rules of Rivalry, I think is what it's called. Which, the theme here is the word roll is in pretty much every single title. So I've got Roll for Love by M.K. England. This is How We Roll, which is a collection of short stories, edited by Rosiee Thor. And then I also have Roll for Romance by Lenora Woods. Seriously, guys, can we come up with something a little more creative than roll for every single title? But those are the plans for this video. And I hope you like my D&D romance book journey. Okay, so I've started my first book, and that is Roll for Love by M.K. England. So this one was chosen because my roommate chose it. I basically just asked her, I was like, hey, what book should I start with? And this is the one she chose. And now that I've read a few chapters, I feel like I can explain what's going on in this book. So this is a YA. We're following Harper. Yes, Harper. Her grandfather has passed, and so her and her mom are moving back to the town that she grew up in. They moved from Portland to a southern city, town. I can't remember the name of it, but it's somewhere in the south. I'm gonna sit up because my ear, I think the laying down is making my ear make weird noises. She is not happy about this move because she's moving during her senior year of high school. And she didn't want to leave her friends in Portland, but now she has. And she's just like, okay, I just need to find a D&D group and I'll be happy. And then on her doorstep pops Ollie, who was a friend of hers from way back when she did live here as a kid. And she had a crush on Ollie. And guess what? Ollie also had a crush on Harper. But it was back when they didn't tell anybody that they were queer or didn't realize that they were queer. But now that they're here in the same place, and also she is part of a D&D group. And so now it looks like Harper's going to join this D&D group since the barn on her mom's now property, her grandpa's old property, it needs a little bit of work, but it can be a great space to host D&D. So that's pretty much what we've got. We just met all of our characters in this D&D group and kind of what their characters are going to be within the party, but also getting a sense of who's who, and pretty much everybody in here is queer, so love that. And I'm excited for the story. It seems like it's going to be very cute, but it is reading a bit more juvenile than I would like. especially for a book about seniors in high school. It's reading more middle school. But we'll see. We'll keep going. Hello. I am halfway through Roll for Love, and I'm enjoying it. It's definitely YA, which I feel like I'm really getting out of my YA phase, which is kind of upsetting. But it's still super cute and super fun. And I like that both of our ladies here are dealing with their own separate stuff while also being like awkwardly teen and crush kind of feeling. Like Ollie, she is still coming to terms with her queerness, I feel like, and she's still like unsure in that aspect of her life. Like she definitely knows what she wants out of life, but just like working on getting that. Then Harper is dealing with not so much the fact of her queerness. She is very much out, proud, but it's more so her future, in the sense of she knows what she wants to do as well, but it's just getting it. Because she very much, so she like loves to do like carpentry and woodworking and stuff like that with her hands, and she just wants to do that as her career, but her mom wants her to go to college and she does not want to go to college. All of her old friends from Portland, also they're all like, let's all go to the same college, and she's like, yeah, she doesn't really want to go to college, but she feels like she's being forced into it. So she's kind of got that going on for her. Ollie also just like knows exactly what she wants, but is not out. She's out with like a few people, like her friends and stuff, but she's like still quite like unsure in that aspect. And so these two definitely having like some moments and awkward moments. There, I just finished a part where like they almost had a kiss. It was like definitely like a kiss moment, and then it didn't happen because they're still both like unsure about how the other feels, which is fine. But their characters also getting the like romantic feel. But yes, so they are also playing D&D with some other people, and that's also really fun. I like that we get what happens in the games in the story as well. I believe where we left off there, like session 8 of their story. But yeah, it's really cute. I'm enjoying it. It's fun, but I honestly feel like it reads a little younger than YA, which is a little bit of a struggle for me right now, because like they're meant to be seniors in high school, but they're reading more like freshmen in high school. So it's just, the writing is feeling a little younger than it actually is. Otherwise, enjoying it. So I finished Roll for Love, and I definitely liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It had me squealing and swooning at multiple times. I liked the conflict as well. I think it was a good conflict, because it wasn't quite miscommunication. It was more of just like what they say the other person is taking to mean something else, or is taking it too literally. And they're also just kind of like dealing with their own stuff, and that's kind of bleeding into their passable relationship, but it's also bleeding into their D&D game, which is very interesting, how like anything that was happening in life with them was bleeding into the D&D game. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I do think the ending wrapped up a little too nicely. Like it was too perfect of an ending, but I did like the relationship between Harper and her mom getting better, because her mom was pissing me off so much. So I'm glad things worked out there, but again, I think it worked out a little too perfectly too quickly. But then again, it is YA, so what can you expect? Now it's time for the next book. I'm gonna do Roll for Romance next by Lenora Woods. I did see Lenora Woods is coming out with another D&D romance later this year, so if I like this one, I might pick that one up as well. But I actually don't know anything about this book. But this one's an adult D&D romance. Let's read the back, shall we? Maybe we'll just read the like one little sentence that they have up top. Two fledgling tabletop gamers find themselves falling for each other, both in and out of their weekly D&D sessions in this charming fantasy-tinged romance. Okay, it was also blurbed by Jen DeLuca, who I have read from and enjoyed, and I think she's also coming out with a new book this year that I'm excited for. Oh, and Sarah Beth Durst blurbed it. Okay, this is promising. This is promising. Okay, I'm a good chunk of the way through the beginning. I'm at chapter 10, so I've read this much, and I think I pretty much get the gist of the story. We are following mainly Sadie, who has just started playing D&D. This is her very first time playing D&D. Her friend is the DM. She just recently lost her job. She's unemployed, so he's like, you've got time, come join my game, and so you can get back on your feet. So she's joining the game, she's playing, and we also have Noah, who is also new to D&D. He owns a bar and has also met her friend, and her friend was like, come join my D&D. And so they're both new to D&D, playing in this campaign together, and at first I thought it was going to be like an enemies to lovers romance, but it's not enemies to lovers. So they're kind of trying to like figure out D&D together, but they're also clearly attracted to each other, but not doing anything about it. And I think that's genuinely the premise. We do also, just like with Roll for Love, we're getting the D&D, like what's happening with their characters within the D&D universe. So there are a couple chapters here and there where you're following their characters and what's happening to them as they're playing the game. But I have to say, so far this romance isn't doing it for me. It's feeling very stale and not making me swoon, not making me kick my feet and like giddy with excitement. I'm not there. I'm just kind of feeling like, okay, they're gonna get together. I don't know, it's just feeling flat and one note. And not interesting. So, but that's, again, we're just in the beginning, so hopefully it gets better. Hi guys, I'm not in my bedroom. I'm in my car. I'm about to head over to my cousin's because we are going to Universal because they're having Fan Fest nights. Tonight is like a D&D themed night, so hence why I'm wearing my Barbarian t-shirt. So I'll try to take some footage while there, but I'm here to talk about, not my notes that I wrote down, but Roll for Romance. I'm gonna do that while I set up whatever this thing is called. And I love how someone just decided to walk by as I'm doing this. Okay, anyway. So Roll for Romance is a 2.5. I'm debating on a 2 or a 2.5, but I'm thinking it's a 2.5. I'm very disappointed and upset because I wanted to love it since I've pretty much loved many D&D romances. This is the first one I haven't loved. Oh my goodness, why are there so many parts to this? I think the reason there's a lot of reasons I didn't love it, but I think the main reason is that it was just so bland and generic and boring. Like even the romance was like, it just felt like two pieces of cardboard having a romance. Like it just... Sentient object romance idea? Maybe? I'm installing a thing. Where was I? The romance was bland, it was boring. And I think I thought, like, you know, since we're gonna have an adult, since I pretty much read like young adult middle grade versions of D&D romances, I was really excited to get into an adult one because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be spicy. There was barely any spice. I think there was like one scene of spice, and honestly, I skimmed it because it was so boring. I'm sorry, it's very boring. And I also didn't like, with the romance aspect, I didn't like that our main couple, their first kiss was as their characters in the D&D world. So this book, as most D&D romances are set up, we have what's going on in their real life, but then there's like chapters that take place within the game and we're following their characters and what's happening in the game. Most of the time, things that happen in the game kind of mirror what's happening in real life and vice versa. That was not really the case with this one. It just felt like a completely different story that it made this whole thing felt very disjointed and made it kind of hard to pay attention because a lot of times it was just like abrupt when it would end. Like their characters had a kiss in the game before our two main characters had a kiss in real life, and I feel like that was a disservice. What am I doing? I'm not paying attention to my instructions here. So that I didn't appreciate, and I didn't like how that was all like written. And actually, I think that's it. I'm trying to think of things that I liked about the story. Oh, I see what this is. Okay. Oh, I also didn't really appreciate, the side characters. Like, especially with the first like D&D session that they had, we were just kind of thrown in without even getting to understand who the characters in the game were, let alone these side characters. Like we just met them and now we're meeting their characters, and it's like we haven't even met these people yet. So I couldn't really, like connect to the characters both in game and out of game. I think what I appreciated though about the story is it's all from Sadie's perspective, our main girl, and I like some of the conflict that she was dealing with in the sense that she had just lost her job. She was feeling kind of, like she deserved to lose her job because she made a huge mistake, but feeling a lack of confidence to get back out into the job world and go looking for a job. So I liked that whole aspect, but also like the fact of like, is she going to stay in Texas or is she going to move back to New York? So I like that, but overall it was just so bland, boring, and generic. So it unfortunately was a miss for me, but now I need to get this attached to here and then I can go to Universal. Okay, see ya. D&D night at Universal was not really what I was expecting. It was fun for sure, but the D&D part of it did kind of feel like someone who doesn't actually know that much about D&D kind of created it. And it was very underwhelming, but the rest of the night was super fun. And I have started the next book. This is how we roll. This is a collection of short stories. It's been edited by Rosiee, Thor. Some of the authors in here I do recognize. Not all of them. I think maybe 5 of them I recognize. One of them, we actually did read their book in this vlog, so that's exciting to read another thing by that author. But I've read the first 3 stories so far. The first one I enjoyed. It's called Gathering the Party, and it's by Anna Mariano. It was great as like a first story because we're following a group of people who are starting a role-playing game within their school, and it was like the first session, but not really a session. It's more of like we're creating our characters kind of thing. While this is happening, a bat gets into the classroom that they're in, and they spend the whole time trying to get the bat out. And it's very much like a bonding experience for this group, so that was fun to read. The next one is the author we recognize, but it is called Captain's Log, and it's by M.K. England, who wrote Roll for Love. And I gave this one 5 stars. I loved this one. We're in the back of a school bus with the band geeks. Everyone's like sleeping because it's now 11 p.m. and everyone's tired. But they're driving back to school, and we're following these 2 kids in the back seat. And they're in the same like role-playing game together. I don't think it's D&D. It was mentioned as something else. Oh, Starfinder. I've never played Starfinder, so I don't know that one. But it's very similar to D&D. And the one character is reading his captain's logs. Like, he plays a captain in their role-playing game together, and at the end of every session he writes a captain's log from his character's perspective, and the other kid and the kid next to him wants to like hear what his captain's log says, but then by the end it's revealed that he likes him. And it was really cute. I was like so invested in this romance, and I loved the way the captain's logs were written and how they translated within our story and the conversation they were having with each other. It was very well done. I liked it a lot. And then the last one that I've read so far for tonight is called Oathbreaker, and it's by Andrew Joseph White, who I have not read any books from, but I do recognize that author's name. And this was... I liked it as well. I gave it 4 stars. So far, I'm really liking all the stories within this, which, by the way, I didn't mention, but it's also a queer anthology, so all the stories have queerness within them as well as role-playing games. And so for this one, we're following a kid who has just come out as transgender, and his dad is not taking it very well, but his dad is who got him into role-playing games, and his dad's campaign and game invite him to come to the role-playing game and be a part of it. And within playing the session with his dad and his dad's friends, him and his dad come closer together and understand each other. And it was very sweet, and I liked it. So I'm so far excited for the rest of these stories because they've been really great so far. I've read 2 more stories in this book. The first one I read tonight was called Sneak Attack by Tara Sim. I gave it 2 stars. I did feel like this was too short. It needed to be a little longer, but I also felt like we really just jumped into the middle of a story and a dynamic that I don't think was explained very well, and I didn't really... It took me definitely a couple of pages to understand the characters and like who was who. It was just like very abruptly thrown into the middle of a story, which I didn't really like. But also too, the conflict didn't quite make a lot of sense to me. We're in the middle of a D&D session with this group of friends, and then it's revealed that an old character that used to be a part of their party, aka an old friend that used to be a part of their group, left the D&D and also kind of left the friend group. But one of them, it's also like their relationship ended and they broke up, and that was another reason for leaving the group. But his character has come back into the story, which means he has come back into the D&D session, and it just becomes a whole like apology thing. But their whole reason for fighting and breaking up didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It didn't seem like a reason to break up, and it made me not like our main character because she was just like super impulsive in her decision making, and then they just like kind of made up super quickly that I feel like there wasn't enough reason to have them resolve the situation, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so it was 2 stars. And then the last one I read tonight was You Are My Favorite Song. This is by Johnny Garza Villa. I gave it 4 stars. It was quite a long story. I think it was the longest story in this so far. It's mainly the D&D session that we're reading from. Like, we're reading from like what happens to the characters in this world. But then every now and then we get a little insert of the actual people talking with each other and talking with the DM and asking like, what can I do in this situation? But this, we were kind of thrown into the middle of it, but at least we got a decent understanding of who these characters are and what's going on. And two of our characters are like definitely have crushes on each other and are falling in love with each other, but it's also mirroring the real people that are playing these characters. And it was like a nice build up to the end when they finally, as themselves, they're real people, not just their characters, admit that they have feelings for each other. And it was really sweet and really cute, and I liked it. And now it is bedtime for me. Okay, I've read 2 more stories. One's a 4, one's a 4.5. I'm genuinely really enjoying this collection. Okay, so I read Camp 1 and Camp 2. Camp 1 is by Jamie Paxton, and it's about this girl who is going to like church camp for the first time because her parents basically don't want her to be a lesbian, so they send her to church camp. But lo and behold, it seems a lot of parents have done that, and she meets a girl who is part of a D&D game, and they do it in secret away from the camp. They like sneak off and play D&D together, and she finds them and joins them, and she just has a crush on one of these girls, and they have a cute little romance, and it was cute. I gave it 4 stars. And then Camp 2 is by Rebecca Podos. I gave it 4.5. When I was first reading the story, I was like, ooh, is this going to be like a continuation of Camp 1? And it's not, until something happens in the very end that does relate it back to Camp 1. And it was really fun. But it is very different from Camp 1 in the sense that it is taking place in a very, very far future from here when Earth has died and a bunch of people are living in space and they're traveling to their new planet home. At this point, they've been in space for quite a long time, for a couple generations. But one of these kids has an old, like, D&D player's handbook that was from, like, their great-great-great-grandmother kind of a thing. And we're mainly following a kid, this boy, who is very shy, cannot be social with other people. It, like, gives him so much anxiety. But then he meets this group of people who are playing D&D, but he has, like, no idea what this game is. And they bring him into the fold. They give him this, like, old, worn-down player's handbook to try and teach him. And it was very sweet, and it helps, like, get him out of his shell. And I liked it a lot. Now let's read a few more. All right, 2 more stories have been read. The first one is Silvery Barbs, which I gave 2 stars. I liked it in the end, but the beginning was too confusing. We have a group of friends. They're playing D&D through online, but they use voice changers and they don't really show their face because they want to keep their D&D character identities a secret so no one knows who is who. But honestly, it was really difficult, like, figuring out who was who. Not only because, I mean, we're probably not supposed to know, but I think some characters had different names for the same character. And they were also playing while doing chats with each other that had, like, that didn't really have much to do with what the game was. So it was very confusing going back and forth between the chat and them playing, and also reading the parts of them in the game as their characters. I was very confused as to what was happening. It very much felt like we were just thrown in and we were supposed to already know who these characters are. And I didn't. So it was hard to keep things straight, and it was very confusing as to what was happening, where the story was going. Like, I was very confused. It then gets revealed that who one of the characters is, and one of the characters is like, wait, I've been flirting with you this whole time as, like, the character, and it's been you? And then things kind of explode, and our main character, which I didn't realize she was the character we were getting the point of view from, because I thought we were getting the point of view of the DM. But apparently not. Another thing that was confusing with the writing. So it was more so the writing was very confusing, which is why I'm giving this a 2. But I did like the ending. I just feel like the romance didn't do anything for me, and I was very confused. And then I also read Haunts for Heathens. This is by Deandra Davis. Ooh, I should probably say Silvery Barbs was by Lindsay Miller, which makes sense. I've read a book by Lindsay Miller before, and I didn't really like it. But Haunts for Heathens, which I love that title, I gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed the story. It's a fun concept. We're mainly following this girl. I already can't remember her name and I literally just read it. Alicia. We're following Alicia. She is a senior in college. She's a senior in high school. She's applying to colleges. She really wants to go to NYU for the arts. And her parents definitely do not approve. They want her to go to school for nursing and they want her to go to a community college because they can't really afford anything bigger than a community college. They also are very, very religious and do not approve of her playing D&D and her friends and all that stuff. She also has an academic rival. Someone that she's never really talked to or known, but like they are constantly in competition with each other when it comes to academics. But then this girl, this academic rival, aka her name is Stevie, she joins their D&D and maybe Alicia and Stevie stop being rivals with each other. Maybe you actually start being friends. And maybe even more than friends. And it was really sweet. I really liked how deep we got with our main character's decision for wanting to go to this school and wanting to get away from her family. I thought that was fleshed out very well. I just, again, wasn't really feeling the romance as much as I want to, which is why it's a 3.5. I feel like the romance is like the big aspect for me in these stories. If I'm not kicking my feet reading these romances, it's not going to be much higher than a 4. But that's what I've read so far. And now I need to get going. I've got a party. Okay, you might be a little tilted, and I'm sorry. But I have read the last 3 stories of this collection. Let's talk about them. Okay, so 5 Times the Wizard Almost Died and 1 Time She Did by Margaret Owen. I gave 4 stars. This one was different than the other ones because there wasn't really any romance in this one. There was like maybe a teeny tiny bit, but like it was not the main part. It was mainly, I feel like, a relationship between these 2 sisters. One of them's the dungeon master and she DMs for her friends, and then she needs an extra character. She needs someone to play a wizard, so she gets her sister involved. And then things kind of explode and blow up. We kind of actually in this short story go through 2 years of their lives, of the sisters and of the people that are also in this game with them, experiencing what is happening when these sisters get along and also when they fight. And one of them's dealing with, I think our main point of view is the younger sister, and she's also dealing with the fact that she's realizing that she's asexual, and more specifically demisexual, and what that means to her, which I really relate to because I've been kind of realizing I think I'm demisexual. And then I think the older sister, we don't really get her point of view, but it's easy to tell that she's dealing with like anger management issues and feeling the need to have to control everything, which could be a sign of autism as well. So maybe that's what they're going for in the story. But no, it was, I enjoyed the story, and so I gave it 4 stars. And then the next one was Pippin and Jeannie's Grand Adventure by Marika Nijkamp. Can't pronounce that. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This is a story about a teen who is neurotypical and has autism and is at like a camp. Not so much a camp, like a Saturday school with therapists to kind of help neurotypical teens live in society and try to live a normal life. Our main character, Pippin, is having trouble with talking. Can't really seems to speak. But then we meet Jeannie, or I think she's known as Jenny, and she talks a lot. But her neurotypical is different from Pippin's. And then through Jenny, Pippin learns about this role-playing game, and by creating this character, it actually helps Pippin get out of their shell. Sorry, I had to like remember what I read. Their shell, and really like start speaking again. And it was nice. I gave it 3.5 stars, but it was a nice story. And then the last story was called Always a Merchant, Never a Rogue by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I gave it 4 stars. It would have been a 5-star if the ending was better. The ending was fine, nothing against the ending. I just had a totally different like idea in mind of where I thought the ending was going to go, and that's not where it went. And unfortunately, that kind of ruined it a little bit for me because I really wanted that other ending. But this was such an interesting story and a really cool idea. We have two NPCs in a role-playing game world, and the adventurers have disappeared. But the last thing they heard was like the adventurers talking about how if there's no DM, how are they gonna play this game? Like they may as well just like not do it anymore. And the adventurers disappeared, and now there's what's called the Iron Curse, where like the entire town is slowly turning into iron, and everybody is frozen, being turned into statues, because the adventurers aren't there to continue the story. And so two NPCs decide they're gonna find this dungeon master and get them to start the game again. And it was really, really cool and fun. I also think the story was just too short. I feel like I needed a little bit more. I don't know. The ending just could have been different for me. Otherwise, still a 4 stars, still really enjoyed it. Overall, my average was 3.7, which for a short story collection is actually pretty good. I enjoyed this quite a lot. And now it is time for the pièce de résistance, the whole point of making this video, and that is roles in Rivalry. So, let's go with the book. Okay, it's quite chilly and windy today, but the book has come out. Very exciting. So, I'm gonna go get it. Okay, it is time to read the final book. The one we've all been waiting for, the one I've definitely been waiting for and have been most excited for. Roles in Rivalry! Okay, so I will say, I don't really know anything about this except it's going to be a romance with D&D. Typical. But I'm going to read the back with you before I read the back. I do kind of want to guess what it's going to be. So obviously, looking at this cover, I was like, he's in band, she's in color guard, because she's got the flag, and that looks like a band uniform. And then I see a bunch of drums everywhere and like drumsticks, so I'm like, he's a drummer in the band. Now, here's where I'm like, how is D&D going to play in this? How, like, is there romance going to be? So the first book was fake dating / enemies to lovers. The second one was enemies into friends into lovers. Okay, so this one I think is going to be brother's best friend. Like, I think her brother maybe is like, her brother's also in band. He's like maybe a year or two older, and he is the DM of a Dungeons and Dragons game. And he needs like one more player or something, and so he gets his sister to do it. But like, his best friend is in the game, and maybe like they're playing and they fall in love with the game, but they're like, oh no, and then maybe they have to like keep their romance a secret because the brother would hate it. What if that's it? We'll see. Okay, let's read the back. Hazel Buchanan has her senior year mapped out. Win respect as color guard captain. Kick off her D&D campaign. Okay, so she's already, hold on a sec. Wait. She's a senior. So obviously so far I'm a little bit wrong. Maybe. Has her senior year mapped out. Win respect as color guard captain. Kick off her first D&D campaign. Okay, so she's going to be dungeon master. And steer clear of distractions. But her plan takes a critical hit when Max, her former best friend and longtime crush, returns to town with drumsticks in hand and an unexplained chip on his shoulder. Okay, so ex-best friend / ex-crush who moved away and is coming back. Okay. Hazel and Max can't help bickering every time they're together. Yes! I love that. And thanks to meddling parents, he's invading her D&D game too. As dungeon master, she's ready to shut him down. But D&D has a way of bringing people together like nothing else. Is this rivalry masking something more? With dice rolling and emotion spinning, Hazel might be in for more than she planned. Duh! Rivalry is in the frickin' title, Ellen. You should have known there'd be Rivalry. Okay, I'm excited. I'm also about to go to my silent book club meeting. I haven't been in like a month, so I'm excited to go. In case you don't know, I found out there's a silent book club where I live, and it was a way I joined as a way for me to try to find some friends. Has it worked? I don't know. I don't really see them outside of book club, but I'm excited to go read this book with them, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Just came back from book club, which went really well. This is the biggest it's ever been. This is like the most people we've ever had. I was talking with John, who runs the book club, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, we had 30 people today. I think the most we've ever had before was like 25. So he says going forward, he's gonna have to cap the meetings because it was too many people. So it was great to see like familiar faces, but also there were a lot of new faces. So yeah, it was fun. And I got through around like 70 pages of the book. I'm enjoying it. Surprise, surprise. But we definitely have the setup. So Hazel, she's on the color guard. They don't usually do very well, and they're picked on by the percussion group that's in the band. They have a rivalry with each other, and then her friend from like years ago, her childhood friend who moved away, moved back, he's on the percussion team, and he's honestly been a little bit of a jerk to her, which is like so rude. But yet there's also something charming about him at the same time, and it's annoying. And they've been making a few little bets with each other here and there. I just left off where they're doing like a water balloon fight. Like the whole band is doing a water balloon fight for camaraderie. But the percussion guys brought water balloons filled with vinegar and were throwing them at our color guard people. But it's also really great because we have a bunch of side characters. Like we're following mainly our girl Hazel, who's the captain of the color guard team. She's a senior. This is her year to be captain. But also each of the members of the color guard have their own personality and their own things going into it, and they're very easily distinguishable, which I like. They don't feel as like tight-knit or as together as they want to be and as like the other teams, the other parts of the band are. So we'll see how this goes. I have a feeling she's a little too controlling and it's going to blow up in her face with her team. And her parents run a D&D group with Max's parents as well. Like they're a part of it. And so we haven't gotten to it yet, but I have a feeling it's going to get to a point where he's going to have to like come over and play while their parents play D&D. And so we'll see. Because right now I'm also like, he's not allowed to step foot in her house at all. Stay away. I'm mad at him. Yet I know it's gonna get good. So right now, really enjoying it. Let's hope we keep it up. I spent all of last night trying to read Roles in Rivalry, and I got about halfway through. It is now the morning. I'm gonna continue reading because I'm enjoying it. I don't know how Kristy Boyce does it, but like the way she writes is just addictive, and I don't want to stop reading, and I'm just eating up every word like it's cake. It took a while, but we finally got the D&D stuff going. And in this D&D campaign, it's our girl who's the dungeon master. Max is a part of it, and they're starting to get closer. He's kind of stopped being mean. He's apologized for it, but she still has her guard up about it. And then we also have her best friend Nova. We have one of her new friends, Lee, who's a freshman on the color guard team. She is so sweet, and I absolutely love her. And then lastly, we have Felix, who is also in percussion, but I believe he's a freshman in the percussion, and he also is just like super quiet and super nice. So I'm loving our D&D thing that we've got going on. But this is her first time being a dungeon master, and she is stressing out. Where I've left off, she is very much stressing out, and Max had her back. And I appreciate that for Max. Also, we now have finally gotten to this dog. The dog is Nova's dog, and Nova has a character whose familiar is a dog. She based the familiar off of her dog, and so now they bring the dog to their sessions. because dogs make everything better. But they're starting to get closer and closer, and I'm loving it, and I'm hoping to finish it by tonight. Just read it in 2 days. Just devour it, because that is what I do with Kristy Boyce's books. God, I hope this series never ends. I also don't understand why this is part of a series, or why this is called a series, because none of the characters in any of these books exist in any of the other books. So it's not, I don't consider this a series, even though it says it's a series. It's just loving it, and I will see you when I am done, or who knows, maybe when something happens and I am squealing with glee. That could happen. Okay, I wasn't planning on coming back here until I finished the book, and also I definitely did not finish it in that day. Unfortunately, I just started getting hooked into some TV shows, and so took a little break from reading. But I came in here to tell you that all the 3 books are now connected. All the 3 books in this series, they connect now. Because at first, none of these characters were ever in any of the other books, but we just had a scene that connects the second and the first book to this one, and also connects them to each other. So Hazel and Max went to a gaming store, and lo and behold, it was the gaming store from the first book that Nathan and Riley work at. And so they go to this gaming store and they meet Nathan and Riley. But also, as they were walking into this gaming store, 2 girls were walking out of the gaming store, and these 2 girls, I can't remember their names, but they were from the second book. So we now have our connection to the other books and how that makes this a series. Hello, it's dinner time. I'm gonna cook a recipe that I decided to think up in my head instead of a recipe that was written down for me. But today I got stabbed. I don't know if you can see it. All the marks, but I got stabbed like 98 times. I did count. It is 98. I don't know why I said like 98. I had allergy testing today. That was not fun because I really hate needles, but in between the different panels that they were testing, I had like 10 to 20 minutes of just like sitting and waiting to see if there's a reaction. And in that time, I finished Roles in Rivalry. But before I talk about the book, I want to talk about some of the things I found out I'm allergic to. Now, I've known I've been allergic to gluten for like about a year now, but I was surprised by some of the things that I reacted to. I didn't react to anything that was like nature related or animal related. The things I reacted to were food related. Hello, roommate.
Hello.
Do you want to know what I found out I'm allergic to?
Sure.
Well, the first one is in this recipe. And it wasn't a huge reaction. It was just like, oh, there's a little bit of a reaction to both corn and rice. And I've got corn and rice pasta. So, having that. But the biggest reaction I got, fish. Fish. I'm allergic to fish. All fish. Fish mix, scallops, shellfish, all the fishes I'm allergic to. But we're going to eat it anyway because I bought it. And this will be my last hurrah with fish.
Even shrimp? Like, it's technically not a fish, but I guess you mean seafood?
Yeah, it was pretty much like all the seafood. The seafood panel was just like raised, and I got reactions, and it was like warm to touch. It was just the food stuff that gave me reactions. But anyway, we're gonna have a shrimp pasta. So the book finished, and it's a 5-star. I loved it. No surprise I loved it. But from where I left off with you guys, I can't remember where I left off with you guys, but they were as we know, we were keeping their relationship a secret from everybody. And of course, with any book and story, things are gonna be revealed. Things are gonna come out. And it's gonna cause chaos, and it was great. He made me mad yet again for a specific reason. I won't say why, because that'll spoil things, but he redeemed himself eventually. But it was still like a story where the romance had me squealing, kicking my feet, and I was really very, very much into it. And the story itself was just very fun to read. So, unfortunately, I don't have much to say because I think I said everything in all the other clips I have about me talking about this book. But it was 5 stars, and I loved it, and I think you guys should read it. And I'm pretty sure that's it for this video. I get to end it here with me peeling shrimp. Anyway, I will see you guys later with more videos. Bye! My hands are too dirty to turn it off now.
That's okay. I say edit it in.
I was gonna say, honestly, I might just keep it going.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, because you can't see where it is. It's on the back of it.
Now it is Ravok's turn.
Where are my coconut shells? Run away! Run away! Run away!
I'm assuming I'm still sitting in the driver's seat of the carriage.
Yeah, you and Dot are both sitting in the carriage ride.
So even though I can't see the person who tried to attack me, I know they're roughly in front of me.
They're somewhere in that cloud.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do breath weapon.
Okay.
That's a good idea. I like that.
It makes like a 15-foot cone that goes 30 feet. So I think it's 15 feet wide, 30 feet long. And it's basically just like lightning that comes out of my mouth.
Awesome.
And it's going to attack. I think I can only hit the guy that tried to attack me. I don't think I can hit the other guy.
Okay.
But
is it for something that you can see? Because you can't see him at the moment. Or is that
AoE. It's AoE.
It's AoE. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a cone. Okay. You can read the cone.
Gotcha. Okay.
The person has to make a DC 11 dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Dexterity, you said?
Yeah.
All right, you rolled an 8.
Yay! So it gets full lightning damage.
Excellent.
Oh, which is 2.
Wait, what?
Okay.
It's 2.
It's 2 damage.
Yes.
2 damage.
Yes, queen. Okay.
He's dead, right?
Yeah, he's
still
looking
standing. Yeah, how's he looking?
That really hurt him, didn't it?
It's okay. We can see through the fog.
It's okay, I can't really see, so I didn't use full power, okay?
It looks very menacing to all of us. Like lightning went into the fog.
Yeah.
And he zapped.
When the lightning went into the fog, did the light of it, did we see the shadows?
Yeah,
of them?
So
the shadows, because
the
it created a light
cone of
now we see
lightning.
them.
Yeah.
Lightning emits from Dravok, who's just, still a little dazed and confused. And you'll see, the whole outline of a creature kind of go, ah! As it gets struck by,